a strap, maybe a chair, but 2 blocks and a strap should work for everything if you have those. So we're going to start with building a little bridge. We're going to do them at the flattest level. So take one of your blocks at the flattest level and the other block above it. The one below is more on the narrow and this one is more on the wide. And you're going to sit in front of them. You can use your hands to adjust where the block comes onto your spine, but basically the bottom of the block will be right at the tip of your shoulder blades, and then you'll lie back and the other block will support your head. And you can rest it either at the lowest level or that block can be a little bit higher. So whatever's comfortable. And start with your knees bent. Walk your feet apart and allow your knees to knock in towards each other, resting so that you don't have to use any muscles to hold up your legs. And then start with your hands on the bottom of your rib cage. The fingers kind of wrapping around that curved edge of the bottom of the rib cage, and the heels of the hands resting on the sides of your rib cage. Your elbows can be on the floor if that's comfortable. Start to draw the chin towards your neck and then draw it up towards your throat. So creating some length on the back of your neck. Resting with the tongue and the roof of your mouth and a slight space between your teeth. So jaws relaxed. You can either look straight up towards the ceiling, finding a focal point on the ceiling, or if you prefer, you can close your eyes. And just take a moment to kind of settle in, noticing where your body is holding tension. And noticing the breath. And noticing where you initially feel your breath. So do you feel it, especially in this kind of chest open position, do you feel it higher in the chest or lower in the belly or evenly between the two areas? Just where do you feel it naturally? And then consciously start to bring your breath into the bottom of your rib cage. So as you inhale, see if you can expand the sides of your rib cage out into the heels of your hands. And as you exhale, feel a gentle release of the sides of the rib cage from the heels of the hands. So we're moving into that diaphragmatic breathing. We've been working on this week after week. So if you've been here, this is something you might be used to now. It might be a little bit easier to bring the awareness there. If this is new to you, just see how well you can bring the breath low into your lungs so that the bottom of the rib cage expands out. And as you exhale, it slightly pulls away. You may notice a slight lift of the front of the belly forward as well. But that is more of a residual effect of expansion of the ribs rather than the focus of the breath. So as we sit here and breathe, you may notice that you start to settle in a little bit more. Sometimes if the shoulders are tight, it shows up in the mid-spine. So kind of where the lower part of your block that's on your spine is. And initially this might feel tense, but as you continue to breathe diaphragmatically, You might start to feel at ease a little bit. And then take your right hand, cross it across your chest, and grab the top of your left shoulder with your right hand, and just allow your elbow to rest across the right side of your chest. And then cross your left arm over it, grabbing your right shoulder. So kind of giving yourself a little hug, and allow your shoulder blades to kind of pull apart a little bit, and then gently rock side to side. So keeping the chin tucked, the neck long, the head is on the block. You may feel, this might feel a little tender from side to side. And it might feel good. And then keep your left hand on your right shoulder and just take your right hand off and cross it over. And then again, grab your left shoulder. So just switching it to get more of an even. You might feel some adjustments to the spine. Moving into that thoracic region so that we can have a little bit more shoulder mobility. And then come back to center and take the arms out, T to the body, and let the backs of the hands rest on the floor, palms facing up. See if you can still bring the breath into the bottom of the rib cage, expanding outward rather than ribs flaring forward. And then take the arms beside your ears, thumbs pointing down, palms pointing in. Start to reach back through your fingertips. Notice if the fronts of your ribs start to lift. Notice if your chin starts to lift. And again, tuck your chin, lengthen the back of your neck. Lower ribs drawing in, and slowly notice if you can bring the thumbs to touch the floor. And if you can't, that's fine. I would rather you keep the lower ribs down and in than to touch the floor with your thumbs. And then turn the palms to face the ceiling. Bend your elbows, so cactus arms, and start to take your elbows towards your ribs as the forearms kind of hover right above the floor. And then reach the arms back to where you began, arms beside your ears, thumbs pointing down, palms pointing in. Walk your feet together. Maybe you bring your legs long to the ground. Keep the lower ribs drawing in. Turn the palms to face the sky, palms facing up. Keep the forearms close to the floor as you start to bend the elbows and reach your elbows beside your ribs. And then just start to move back and forth between arms straight, arms beside the ears, thumbs pointing down, palms facing in, and then cactusing your arms to bring your elbows beside your ribs. So moving with whatever breath works for you, but trying to maintain that expansion of the rib cage out as you inhale and softening it as you exhale. Start to notice the shoulder blades as they glide up and down on your back. So we want to free the shoulder blades. The shoulders are actually designed for mobility. And we spend so much of our time trying to stabilize them, and we will do some stabilization, but the shoulders are designed to mobilize, to reach. Bring the arms over the head, palms face in. Cross your arms. So stacking your forearms and grab the outer edges of the block that's under your head. So wrap the fingers around the edges of the block and pull the block apart. So we're stabilizing at this time. Notice how much of that work is in your neck. Notice if the fronts of the ribs start to flare. Draw the fronts of the ribs down and in. And relax the front of the neck by tucking the chin towards the throat and lengthening the back of the neck. Release, cross the opposite forearm on top. Grab your block and again pull. Release. Bring the arms down beside your body, T to the body. Just allow the arms to relax, allow the legs to relax, and just notice it a little easier to breathe deep into the diaphragm. And bend the knees, roll off your block on either side and remove the blocks. Come onto your back. You want to take the blocks so they're kind of down, away from your hands, away from the top of your mat. Bend your knees again. Press your feet into the floor, lift your hips off the floor and shift them about an inch to the right. Lower the hips to the ground, straighten the left leg to the ground. Bend your right knee towards your left shoulder, grab your right knee with your left hand, and then pull the knee all the way to the floor. And if you can't bring the knee to the floor, you can place a block underneath your right knee. Your right shoulder is going to come off the floor, and we want that. You can rest your left hand on the outside of your right knee, palm facing up, fingernails on the floor, and start to make snow angels with your right arm. So bringing the arm up beside your ear, and then taking the arm down, hand comes towards the back of your hip. So just exploring this movement in your shoulder blade. Noticing those areas where the shoulder blade moves with ease, noticing those areas where you kind of feel that clunk clunk in your shoulder blade, and just see if you could let go a little bit and create more movement. Notice if you can feel how your shoulder blade kind of glides on the back of your rib cage. We're looking for that mobility throughout. Bring the hand down beside the hip. And then snow angel the arm up. This time, once you come to the ear, flip the palm of the hand down and continue your circle, taking your right hand towards your right knee in front of you. And then release it back. So we're just increasing the range of motion in the shoulder blade. Should feel really lovely. So arm comes up beside your ear and then palm of the hand turns down. Fingertips continue to brush across the floor as you bring your right hand towards your right knee. And then wrap it all the way back around. You can think of stretching through the fingertips the whole way through. Allowing your head to kind of follow however it naturally follows. And one more time, bring it through. This time, allow the arm to go across your leg and make a full circle with your arm. We'll go 2 times in one direction. And then switch directions. Bring it down across your hip. Bring fingertips to the floor, bring it up over your ear, and then down around your back. And one more time. Wrap, roll, come all the way back through. Reach the hand out to the side and come down onto your back again. So right foot comes to the floor, both hips come to the floor. Center the hips, straighten the legs, and just pause. Keeping your neck soft, take a few breaths in and out through your nose. Low down into your rib cage and just notice how the right shoulder feels different than the left shoulder. Mine feels a little wider, like it has a little bit more space, a little fuller. Then go ahead and bend your knees. Press your feet into the floor, lift your hips off the floor and shift your hips all the way to the left. Straighten your right leg down to the ground. Bend your left knee across your chest towards your right shoulder. Use your right hand to take your knee all the way to the floor. And again, the left shoulder will come off the floor, but if the knee does not rest on the floor, you can place a block underneath of it. Come on to the back of your hand, so fingernails are on the floor. And we're just going to start by making that snow angel first, taking the hand down towards your hip, and then taking it up beside your ear. So just notice what this feels like. One shoulder may feel completely different than the other. And for me, that's the case. Like my left shoulder just doesn't really know what it's doing right now. And to be patient, notice those areas that I feel the clunk clunk and see if I can move through it a little slower. And once you feel that that's moving pretty well, the next time you bring your arm up beside your ear, turn the palm to face down and roll it all the way through, bringing your hand towards your left knee. And then bring it back through. Fingertips brush the floor and then flip the hand over. Fingernails brush the floor. And do that a few times. So exploring what speed works for you. Is there resistance? And where can you feel that resistance? And if you move a little bit slower, can you move through that resistance? We're also kind of unwinding into the thoracic spine. So you're going to feel some of that mobility come into the spine. And then the next time you bring the arm towards your left knee, brush it across the side of your hip and just make those full circles. Notice where the head goes naturally. So the neck is nice and soft. You're not trying to control it with your neck. And then switch directions. So 2 times in the opposite direction. And then roll back onto your back. Center your hips. Straighten your legs. Arms out to the side. And just take a couple of breaths, noticing what it feels like to allow the shoulders to be free. We're so often told to lock our shoulders down our back and towards our spine, and we end up creating almost as much tension in the muscles that keep the shoulder locked down and stabilized as we do when the shoulders naturally rise up to the ears. So today, the goal is to mobilize the shoulders. Bend your knees, roll onto your side body, and press yourself up. So we're going to go between something that kind of feels good and yummy, like hopefully that did for you. And then we're going to go into something that we're actually going to work a little bit more on stabilization. So you're going to have your 2 blocks and place your blocks on either side of your mat, kind of in the middle of the mat. And then from hands and knees, lower down onto your belly. So start by tucking the bottom of your rib cage down and in. Forehead is on the floor, but chin is pulling up towards your throat so that the nose is not on the floor. So the forehead is on the floor. Reach back with your hands and take the palms of your hands to the tops of your blocks. So you want to position the blocks so that your elbows are straight. And then allow the heads of your shoulders to fall towards the floor. And they won't touch the floor, but kind of relax. Feel the spread between your shoulder blades. And then start to press your hands actively into the blocks as you lift the heads of the shoulders away from the floor. So press down through the hands and lift the shoulders away from the floor. And then again, roll the shoulders towards the floor. Press down through the blocks and then lift the heads of the shoulders away from the floor. Keep pressing into the block. Start to scoop your chin up towards your throat as you lift your head off the floor. Press the hands into the blocks so you feel that action. And then use that to lift your hands off the block and turn the palms away from your hips. So thumbs are pointing up. Lift the thumbs a little higher. Reach the fingertips down and out. Release the hands to the blocks. Release the forehead to the floor. Release the arms off of the blocks, taking your elbows in line with your shoulders, and turn your head to the right. So let that work go. Notice in this position, as you inhale, your rib cage expands out. And as we're doing these back bends, these thoracic extensions, you do want to make sure that the breath can continue to breathe into the lower rib cage. Take your forehead back to the floor. Reach back, grab your blocks, and now move them so that the blocks are in line with your shoulders. And again, the palms of your hands are on the blocks. So press the palms of the hands into the blocks and reach the fingers away from your shoulders. So spreading between your shoulder blades. So creating space in the front of your chest, as well as between your shoulder blades. Then start to actively press the hands down. Roll the heads of the shoulders towards the floor. So feel the shoulder blades kind of glide up, and then press through the block and roll the shoulder blades down your back. Turn the palms of the hands forward so that the pinky edges of your hands are on the blocks and the thumbs point up. Press the pinky edges of your hands into the blocks as you pull your fingers away from your body. Press, press, press. Lift the head, lift the chest, chin towards throat. Stay here, press down to the block, and then lift the arms off the block. Take the hands behind the blocks. Take the pinky edges of the hands down to the floor. Press, lift the head and chest. Lift, thumbs up towards the sky. Take the arms forward of the blocks, so like a V, and then take again, pinky edges of the hands down, press, lift head and chest. Lift arms off the floor, take it back, lower to the bottom of the block. Lift, take the arms above the blocks, lower pinky edges. Lift, turn the palms down, take the hands back to the blocks, release the forehead to the floor. Arms again come down on either side of your head. Elbows bent. Turn the head to the left and breathe. So oftentimes, the reason that our shoulders travel up towards our ears is because some of these muscles on our back are not necessarily knowing what to do. So you may have felt them actively during those motions. Turn your forehead back to the floor, hands underneath your shoulders, press down and lift up. That was hard, right? And roll your shoulders a little bit, let that action go. Roll them forward a little bit, let them go. We're going to use the belt. So we're going to go back to something that should, after a few rotations, kind of like the snow angel thing, start to feel really good. So take your belt between your hands, and your hands are going to be wider than your shoulders. You may have to adjust this as we move through this. It might have to be even wider, but start out slightly narrower than you are, Carla, maybe. So you should be able to pull the belt taut and feel some stability in your shoulders. So pull the belt taut. We're going to lift up onto our knees and bring the belt over your heads. Sit back. Bring the belt down, touch your thighs. Keep pulling the belt taut. If you can't pull the belt taut, bring your hands a little closer together. Pull, And then lift up onto your knees. Pull the belt taut and lower. Pull the belt taut, lift up onto your knees. I'm going to move the camera because I'm seeing that if I go any higher, you won't be able to see me. So keep pulling the belt taut. And bend your elbows, bring the belt behind your head. Notice if your ribs start to flare and draw the lower ribs down and in. So see this? That's not shoulder extension, that's rib extension. Bring the ribs in. So Carla, bring your ribs in a little bit more and bring the belt behind your head. Inhale, straighten. Lower the hips, lower the belt. Keep pulling the belt taut as you lift up. Keep your lower ribs in. So only take the arms back as far as you can with the ribs down and in. Bend the elbows. Take the elbows down towards your rib. Belt comes behind your back. Inhale, press up. Sit the hips back. If that was fairly doable, we're going to move on. If not, just continue to work with that. Pull the belt tight. Lift up onto your knees. Keep your elbows straight. And take the belt back to touch your hips. Lift up and sit back. So we're going to do that for a few rotations and we're starting to kind of wind through some of those crunchiness in our shoulder blades. If you can't keep your elbows straight, maybe loosen up on your belt or maybe go back to bent elbows. Notice if the ribs flare as you take the belt back. Try to keep it in so it's true shoulder rotation and not back extension. And as you keep doing this, shoulder flossing, you may notice that it starts to get a little easier. One more time. Good. So staying on your heels this time, bring your arms over your head. So still holding the belt. Bend your left elbow, bringing the hand behind your left head. Right arm stays straight, pull, and then side bend. You're going to use your hand to attach the belt to the floor. Take your feet to the side. So you can kick your feet out to the left. Keep pulling the belt taut. Twist open to the left and move towards straightening your left arm behind you. Bend the elbow, come back, bring it behind your head. Punch the fist out to the right and back as you twist, head and chest open to the left. Bend, twist back to center. One more time, punch the fist back, chest, head, look up. Try to keep both or your left elbow straight. Start to bend your right elbow, rotate, stretching your left arm as far forward as you can, maybe touching the floor. Keep the left arm straight, right arm straightens as you take it all the way up and back. Start to bend right elbow as you take left arm forward. Pull the belt taut. So you're stretching the belt. One more time, rotate open. Bend your right elbow, bring it behind your head. Lift up onto your knees, arms come overhead. Bring your feet back, knees back, and sit back. Good, other side. Inhale, lift up. Bend your right elbow, taking it behind your head. Lean to the left, using your left hand to support the belt. Lift your hips and take your feet out to the right. Left hand touches the top of your right thigh. Start to pull and then straighten your right elbow as you gaze up and back. Twist, hand comes behind your head. Straighten your right elbow as you twist your head up and look back. Bend, come back to center. One more time, open, straightening your right arm. Keep your right arm straight, start to bend your left elbow back as you reach your right arm forward, trying to keep your belt taut. Open, both arms straighten, roll the chest open, and then rotate closed. Keep pulling the belt taut as you open, and then keep pulling the belt taut as you close. Rotate back open, bend your right elbow behind your head. As you lift your arms over your head, come up onto your knees, bring the knees back together, and then sit back. Let the belt go and roll. All right, so every time, that one should have created a little bit more space, should have gotten easy, kind of like when we were doing the snow angels. Now we're gonna go to something that again, works on stabilization. So 2 blocks. I'm gonna turn this way so you can see a little bit better. 2 blocks on either sides of your hips. Hands on the blocks, press down and lift your hips off the floor. Once your hips are off the floor, you're actually gonna shrug your shoulders down or up to let your hips move down. So instead of doing it with the core, we're doing it with shoulder blades. So you can see, shoulder blades are gliding down and up, down and up. So pushing down to keep the shoulder blades down, and then allowing them to shrug up. So just notice what it feels like to mobilize and stabilize at the same time. Let it go. Come into a seated position and take one of your blocks. So the shoulder blades move in different directions. That was elevation, when we shrug our shoulders up, and depression. The other motions, hands on either side of your block. Take the block out in front of you. And imagine your armpit is like a socket and you're plugging it in. So the arms glide into the shoulder socket, shoulder blades come towards the spine, and then reach forward, feeling the shoulder blades kind of wrap on the outside of your rib cage. So do this a few times. So we're stabilizing and mobilizing at the same time. We're pressing into the block to find that stability between the arms, but we're mobilizing the shoulders so they wrap around the outside of the rib cage and then they go towards the spine. Good. Release. Okay. We're gonna go down to a nice shoulder stretch. So left hand stays on the floor. Reach your right arm up and out to the side. And then thread the needle, taking your right arm behind your left arm, bringing your right ear and your right shoulder to the ground, and then simply walk your left arm forward. Notice if your hips move more to the left and try to keep them towards center. And then start to press down through the back of your right hand, pressing down through the palm of your left hand and glide up. So both kind of move up at the same time to lift up. Switch, left hand, right hand comes to the floor. Left hand comes behind, thread the needle, left ear, left shoulder to the ground, and then walk right arm forward. Notice the hips. Can imagine that you're stretching through your fingertips. So right hand is reaching forward, left hand is reaching out to the side. And then start to press through your right hand and the back of your left hand and as if you're kind of taking them towards each other to scoop up. Then we're going to move through this fast, or not fast, but switch. So glide out, head turns to the left, glide up. Switch hands, glide out. Press hands, glide up. Switch hands, glide out. Press hands, glide up. Last time. Glide, turn head to the right. Press hands, glide up. Sit back and roll. And just notice what's going on in the shoulders. How are they feeling? And knowing that if something doesn't feel right, that it's your responsibility to kind of ease up and do things a little less aggressively. Take your blocks, and you can do this towards the front of your mat. Bring your hands onto your blocks in a tabletop position. Press down through your blocks, and as if you were reaching your arms forward, wrap the outer shoulder blades on the outside of your rib cage. So this action, and you may have to go off your mat, maybe it's easier on the mat, it depends on what kind of floor. It's going to move the shoulder blades. So twist your blocks apart. Feel what happens to your shoulder blades. And then twist your fingers towards each other. Again, twist out. So going slow, pressing down, and then twist back in. Try to keep your elbows straighter. They will bend slightly, especially as you turn the fingers in. Just notice the action of stabilization that you can feel in both directions. Good. Come back to center. Keep your left hand on your block. Use your right hand to place the block out in front of you. Press down through your right hand, so you're wrapping the outer shoulder blade. And then as if you were twisting your fingers out. So the block doesn't move, but as if you were pushing the block out. Bring your right arm beside your ear. Thumb pointing up. Bring the right arm out to the side, thumb pointing up. Turn the thumb down. Turn the thumb up. Turn the thumb down. Turn the thumb up. Turn the thumb down. Bring the right hand to rest on your lower back. Now shift your attention to your left hand. Allow your rib cage to slide down your inner left arm. So you're taking your shoulder blade towards your spine or retraction. Press down through the block as if you're twisting the block out. Lift the chest away from the floor. So you glide down and you glide up. Glide down, glide up. Keep twisting as if you're twisting the block open. Glide up, stay up, and then twist open to the right. Twist down, glide down. Press up, twist up. Twist close, glide down. One more time. Glide up, twist up. Twist down, glide down. Woo! Bring your right hand to grab your block. Bring it back beside the left. Press down through your right hand as if you were twisting the block open. Reach your left arm beside your ear, thumb pointing up. Keep twisting right hand out. Then take the arm out to the side, left arm out to the side, thumb down, thumb up. So as you rotate the left arm, see if you can do it from the shoulder blade. And down. Bring the back of the hand into your lower back. And then shift awareness back to your right hand. So glide your rib cage down the inside of your right arm, push down through your hand and twist as you glide back up. Glide down, glide up, glide down, glide up, glide down, glide up, stay up, twist to the left, twist forward, glide down. Push and twist the hand out as you glide up, open, twist forward and down. One more time, push, twist, open, twist close and down. Sit back and roll. Cross your left arm across your chest. Use your right arm to give it a nice stretch. And then switch. Right arm goes across. Use your elbow crease to pull it across the chest. Two blocks, shoulder width apart. Sit back on your heels. And if this is hard, you can use a chair. A chair is going to be a little higher. If you're not able to sit back on your hips, it might help to actually use a chair instead. So you're going to lean forward and bring your elbows to the blocks, kind of the center of your blocks. Start to sit back, hips towards heels, and then walk your elbows forward further. Drop your head between the blocks and take the palms of your hands to your upper shoulders. You can walk the hips back a little bit. You want to feel a stretch on the front of your, like your armpits. You can use your hands to massage between your shoulder blades if you wanted to. So just start to press your elbows down a little bit. Bring your hands into a prayer position so palms touch. Let the head hang. Push the elbows into the blocks. Keep the head hanging. Push the elbows into the blocks. And then round your spine up and touch your thumbs. Let the head drop back towards the floor. Start to push your elbows into the blocks and then lift your upper back and touch your upper back to your thumbs. Let the head go. Push elbows into the floor. Start to round your upper back, touching your spine to your thumbs. Keep pushing into the blocks. Start to straighten the arms. Palms stay together. Bring your right hand to the block, left hand to the block. Come up. So external rotation is hard for a lot of people. And a lot of this work is working on opening the shoulders so that you have more external rotation. So when we bring our arms over our head and we have a hard time of bringing the arm in line with the ear, that usually means there's some tightness in here. The other thing that we tend to do in order to bring our arm up is flare our ribs forward, which is not external rotation, that is back extension. So we're looking to increase external flexion of your arm, not external rotation, flexion of your arm, which we're going to take into a little bit of stabilization before we go into elbow dog. So come down onto your belly. Start with your elbows underneath your shoulders. Palms to the floor. Take a block and place the block between your hands, like so. And press the first finger and your thumbs into the block. So you're squeezing in. position myself this way so you can see. Position in. So squeeze in and start to take your shoulders down your back as you push your chest forward. Keep squeezing the block and then bring the elbows as if the elbows were pushing into a block as well. Release the block. Release the forehead to your hands. And rock the hips a little side to side. Good. Bring the elbows back underneath the shoulders. Palms to the floor. Imagine the block was between your hands and between your elbows, so you're squeezing in. Start to draw your shoulder blades down your back. Tuck your toes under and lift your hips off the floor. So you're coming into a modified plank, elbow plank. Start to squeeze the elbows in and twist your thumbs. Like you're twisting into the blocks again, but your hands aren't moving. Twist your thumbs towards your fingers. Good. Keep your right hand on the floor. Bring your knees together and come into elbow plank on your knees. So side plank. So wrist is in line with your elbow. Press your palm down, and as if you were twisting your thumb towards your fingers. Feel that stabilize your shoulder down. Release your hips. Come back onto your belly. Elbows down. Palms press down and twist out isometrically. Start to lift your belly off the floor. Come onto your knees. So finding elbow plank on your knees. And keeping your weight on your right elbow. Stack your knees. Twist, press down into the palm of your hand and twist your thumb towards your fingers isometrically. Feeling that stabilize the shoulder down. Release. Forehead to the floor, forehead to your hands. Let your shoulders go. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press up to hands and knees. So does it make sense when I say press your hands down and twist isometrically? When you press down, so just come onto hands and knees. When you press your hands down, and then as if you were twisting the blocks apart, but the blocks don't move, feel that stabilize into your hands, right? Locks the shoulders into stabilization. And then as if you were pushing your hands towards each other at the same time. It really activates everything around the shoulder girdle. Release. Sit back. Roll the shoulders. Both directions. Got to take lots of breaks when we're doing shoulder stuff. Right hand out to the side. Turn your thumb up and back. Lift your right arm beside your ear. Take your left hand, grab your arm and roll your arm closer to your ear. And then drop your hand between your shoulder blade. Left hand comes across, still rotating arm inside the socket, side bend. Gaze up towards the right. Breathe into the side body, side rib cage. Come back up, release. Shake it out. Other side, turn your left thumb up, keep rotating it back, and then bring your left bicep beside your ear. You can allow that outer shoulder blade to lift. Drop the hand between your shoulder blade. Take your right arm up and over. Grab the arm and rotate the bicep closer to the ear. So you're rotating the arm in, which is actually external rotation, and then side bend. Gaze to the left. Notice if you can breathe into the left side rib cage. And come up. Let it go. All right, we're going back to elbow plank again. So come down in a tabletop position, come down to your elbows. Hands spread. Start to press the palms down. Twist them open without moving them. So press and twist, and then start to squeeze your elbows together. So feeling that stabilization in the shoulder girdle. From there, decide if you want to bring back to knees or this time possibly going back to full elbow plank. So hands continue to press down and twist out. Elbows squeeze in. And then keeping your weight on your right elbow, drop your heels to the right and come into elbow plank with hips either on the floor, knees on the floor, or you can have hips up. Breathe into the side of your rib cage. Keep your lower ribs in. Keep twisting right hand out as you lower back into elbow plank, and then walk your feet towards your head as you drop your head between your elbows. Press down through your hands, twist out, push your head towards your feet. So you're really finding that external rotation here in your shoulders. Keep pressing the hands down, keep twisting. Elbow squeeze in. Then walk the hands, feet back as you come back into elbow plank. Hands down, twist, elbow squeeze in. Inhale into your ribs, and then shift onto your left elbow. Hips can either be on the floor, knees can be on the floor, or hips up. Keep pressing left hand down, twist. Feel the shoulder blade glide down the back. Lower ribs in. Shift back to both elbows. Press back one more time into elbow, down dog. Lower the knees to the floor. Sit back. Come up. So we've been on the floor the whole time. For our final kind of stretch, we're going to go up into a standing position. So stand up. And feet are about a little wider than hip distance apart. Right hand out to the side, turn the thumb up and back. Bring your bicep beside your ear and drop your hand between your shoulder blade. This time, left arm is staying on your left hip. Lower ribs stay down and in, so keep the extension in the arm, the shoulder, not the back. Inhale, reach the elbow up. As you exhale, side bend, gaze up towards the sky to the right. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, reach left arm down as right arm reaches over to the left. Come back up. One more time, take it to the side. This time, stay side bending and then turn your elbow forward and to the left. Rotate open. Reach elbow forward and to the left. Rotate open. One more time. Rotate open. Release. Shake it out. Notice right side to left side. And we will do the final side. So left thumb turns out and back. Reach, bicep beside the ear. Drop, left hand between your shoulder blades. Reach, left elbow up. Inhale. As you exhale, reach your right arm down your thigh as you side bend to the right. Come back up. Side bend. Come back up. Side bend. Stay in the side bend and start to rotate your left elbow down towards the floor and reach it to the right. Rotate up and open. Rotate forward and out to the side. Rotate open. Last time. Release. Roll the shoulders. Take your hands behind the back. Lift your arms as high as you can. Feet stay wide. Slight bend to the knees. Send the hips back as you fold forward. Let the head go. Let the arms release towards the floor over your head. Slight gliding of the shoulders down your back, but not forcing them down your back. Kind of finding more of a neutral position. So you have space in your neck, but you're not overbearing the muscles of the lower mid back. Try to keep your hands or your arms in the same position, knees bent, lift up, and see how high your arms are after that. Release the arms, shake it out. And we're going to come down onto our backs. You can rest with your knees bent, or if you prefer, legs straight. Arms can rest down beside your body, palms facing up. Shifting so that you feel an even amount of weight on your hips and your shoulders. Draw your chin towards your throat, lengthening the back of your neck. Lower ribs slightly down and in. See if you can bring awareness just to that expansion, light, not forceful, expansion of your lower ribs. So we did a lot of shoulder mobility, a lot of shoulder stability. But where a lot of these muscles of the shoulder attach are along the spine, specifically that mid rib cage, lower rib cage. And a lot of what we did is to try to create some mobility in this space. Oftentimes, this can be part of what inhibits the breath to expand into the sides of your rib cage, allowing for that full diaphragmatic contraction, the movement of the diaphragm down as the ribs expand out. So just notice, are you able to breathe a little bit more in this lower lung area? Notice how your shoulders feel. And the neck, freeing up. Some of these shoulder muscles can also free up the neck. Notice the front of the chest. you're ready, bend your knees. Roll onto your side body. And allow yourself to move into a fetal position. Allowing the head to relax towards the floor. Maybe it's resting on your arm. And using your hands and your arms, slowly push yourself up into a seated position. And notice as you come into the seated position, where do your shoulders rest? Like if you are not trying to micromanage and put them in the right place, like if you just relax, where do they sit? And slowly bring your hands to heart center. Bow into the space of your heart. And thanking you so much for being here this evening. If you have any questions, please let me know. Namaste.